we're going to talk a little bit about illegal immigration, another law and order subject. I spoke about this on my show to Sheriff Joe. Do you know Sheriff Joe? Yeah. I love Sheriff Joe. He's one of America's great characters. And they're always trying to get him. Why? Because his shit works. Because he's effective and they hate it. So what's the latest thing today is they're trying to, some activist judge is trying to get him on racial discrimination because he suggested that if police reports say that Hispanics commit 80% of crime, it might be a good idea to stop Hispanics, on the basis that if you get a police report saying a Mercedes was speeding away at the scene of the crime, you don't go and start stopping BMWs and Fords. That, in the liberal mind, is racist. I think even those of us who have seen an episode of CSI know it's actually just called policing. One of the major law and order problems we have in America is a group that the social justice cancer types love to support, illegal aliens. They're their favorite people. There are at least 11.3 million illegals in America. Pew Research says that's probably much higher. Only Daddy really knows the answer. I mean, he knows it. Daddy, who knows all things, knows the answer. I don't know. We have no idea the true number. Why? Because they don't like to be counted. So they don't reply to censuses. These irritating illegal immigrants just won't fill out the form. About 30% of immigrants come here illegally. That's the Center for Immigration Studies. Half illegals are Mexicans, which is declining, but the slack is being picked up by Central and South Americans. As Mexico gets richer, people from further down the south kind of try to make it through Mexico. 6 states account for 60% of illegal immigrants: California, Texas, Florida, New York, New Jersey, Illinois. That's also from Pew. When I walked in, you didn't think you were going to learn things today, did you? Illegals make up 5% of the American workforce. Interesting, 5%. 1 in 20 people working is illegal. Who do you think suffers from that the most? Working class people, blacks, Hispanics, people who came here legally, people who don't have a lot of money, who are here legally and who want to work and who want to get by. And of course the white working classes, which only really Donald Trump has bothered to speak to in the last 45 years of conservative politics, so you can thank him for that. In a country where labor force participation has gone down the entire time Obama has been in office, bringing in unskilled labor possibly isn't the answer. The dirty little secret about illegal alien workers is that the jobs they take hurt black Americans and legal Hispanics much worse than anyone else. Illegals aren't taking computer engineering jobs away from whites. They're not going to threaten you guys. But they do hurt black people. Again, Black Lives Matter somehow omits to mention this stuff. These issues were brought up to Congressional Black Congress by a black attorney, a member of the Civil Rights Commission, Peter Kirstenau. Nobody listened. We'll get to more immigration stuff, I think, later, because I want to wrap up. I've been going on. What I want to take away, what we should take away from all of this is that there's a simple answer to all this, and it's proactive policing. Instead of the Chicago approach and Europe's approach with Muslims having no-go zones where we have to move towards the aggressive policing, that we're seeing in New York. Does anyone know what Stop and Frisk is? No, well, there is a DVD called Stop and Frisk. I thought some of you might have seen it.
Are you in it?
I was younger and I needed the money. Stop and Frisk was a natural extension of the Rudy Giuliani era of policing. Rudy Giuliani, who is something of a sort of, he's like a Voldemort figure for the left. Why? Because, again, his shit worked. Saved thousands of black lives by policing properly. Giuliani turned New York from a nightmare place to live into a pretty great city, into the great city it is now, actually, in a safe place with a vast majority of sex in Central Park is consensual. So, I speak from experience. Only 4 out of 5 times, isn't it? It's fine. Looking back, it was all right. Stop and Frisk is a brief stop and questioning of a suspicious person who might have been involved in a crime or might be about to commit a crime. New York cops in the city's worst neighborhoods actively stopped upwards of 500,000 people a year at the height of the program, around 88% of which went on their way with no issue. It's those 12% who had weapons, drugs, and other criminal intent that were caught through Stop and Frisk. Now, just think about that for a second. Over 1 in 10 people stopped had done something wrong. Over 10%, 12%. That's pretty good, isn't it? That's like a pretty good program. You think, yeah, that's probably quite good use of police time. Yeah, it's racist. Social justice types hate it because the vast majority of stops are black and Latino men, but New York is heavily black and Latino. And newsflash, black and Latinos are the ones committing crimes in black and Latino neighborhoods. Liberal Mayor Bill de Blasio has drastically slashed stop and frisks from more than 500,000 or more a year to just over 20,000. In cities where police are afraid to interact with people because of their skin colour, they cannot effectively do their job. They can't save lives. And this is the result of social justice, it's the result of progressivism. And when some people don't find the gender stuff I do to be particularly important or significant. They're wrong, but I understand why they think it's a bit of a waste spending all your time on feminism. I've come here today to talk to you about a different dimension of social justice, a different dimension of far-left progressivism that is more starkly and more obviously poisonous, more starkly and more obviously, yes, cancerous, because this is another natural extension of the kind of philosophy that pits men against women. Social justice pits blacks against whites, Hispanics against blacks, whites against Hispanics. And it does it in some of the ways I've described. Interestingly, Rudy Giuliani has spoken very favorably about Donald Trump, as has Sheriff Joe. So if you're in any doubt about the presidential candidate most likely to restore law and order to America, I think you have your clue there. Most of the people who understand how policing needs to be done in this country seem to be Trump guys.